Hi, Farsh.
Hi, Peter.
Good to see you across the globe.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. We're in a very odd spot here because everything you may have heard, the West is experiencing tremendous heat waves in the United States, and but here in San Francisco, we are experiencing the lowest temperatures that we've felt in this month, July. That's because of the sweeping inward marine layer or fog, which is casting a gray pall, chilly pall over the place. So that's a weather report.
So you can say the extremes are everywhere. Also, the weather is quite extreme right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. And where are you in Germany?
You mean where I'm located?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm located in the south.
What city or town?
It's Stuttgart, which is like maybe 1.5 hours from Munich.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been in between Frankfurt and Munich, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I spent the better part of a summer in Munich. When I was 13, my mother was in a movie called 1, 2, 3 or Eins, Zwei, Drei, and with Jimmy Cagney, and I was hanging out with her, seeing how a movie gets made. And
Okay, I just wanted to. All right. Well, welcome again, everybody, and to our monthly PISLAP call. And our guest today is Farsh Nardon. We're really looking forward to talking with her in a little bit. So usually, just for those who are new to these meetings, we begin them with a period where we go around virtually and just have everyone say, oops, what do you got there, Stu? Oh, I'm so sorry. Peter, can you take over for just a second? I just need to pick the.
Sure. This is very intriguing, though. Is it, where is it coming from? There's Fat on the screen is Fats Waller and
I don't know what's going on.
Web's iTunes.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Okay, great. I'm back, Peter. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually we go around and have everyone just introduce themselves, say, where you're situated physically, and then just a word just to locate yourself in time and space and this community. So so Peter usually leads us in this part. So Peter, I turn it over to you.
Okay. So begin with myself. I'm Peter Gable. I'm sitting in my new office as we're reorganizing our house, looking out at Sanchez Street in Noe Valley in San Francisco. Glad to be with all of you. Glad to be connected to a group aspiring to a more loving and connected world. And I'll go on to Amber Turner. Can you do the same?
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again with you. It's been a while. I'm here in Gibraltar, which is, it's in Europe. So I'm I'm next to the Mediterranean Sea, which I can see from where I'm sat right now, which is also my new office space. I think most of us have decided to work from home with COVID still doing the rounds. So I'm a barrister. I've been a barrister for 22 years, and but I describe myself more often as a holistic lawyer. So that's me, and I'm very, very, very happy and very privileged and honored to be here sharing this space with all of you.
Thank you, Amber. And Anthony Cullen, if you please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm tuning in from Dublin, Ireland. It's my first time, joining one of these meetings. I heard about the group through the UK chapter of the Society for Therapeutic Jurisprudence. And I'm essentially a law lecturer. I teach in a university in the north of London, in Middlesex University. And I'm really pleased to be here today and joining you.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anthony. Stu Webb.
Hi, I'm a retired lawyer, a collaborative lawyer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm looking out my window. It's a beautiful day. And a long time member of PISLAP, and very happy to be here. And hi, Amber. Good to see you here.
Thank you, Stu. Yasmin Saya.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yasmin. I just graduated law school. I am studying for the bar right now, which is in 2 weeks, so it's crunch time. This is my first PISLAP meeting. I was hoping to make one in May, but with the craziness of moving out and bar studying, it was not to be. And right now I'm actually in Gasky, California, which is a tiny town as north as you can possibly get without being in Oregon. And we're in an Airbnb just surrounded by forest and mountains and river, and it's supremely peaceful. So it's been a nice summer studying up here. And I look forward to getting to meet all of you. Oh, and I'm moving to San Francisco in October. So
Great, wonderful. I'll look forward to seeing you in person then. Yasmin. Thank you. Bruce Peterson.
Hi, I'm Bruce Peterson. I'm a retired judge in Minneapolis. I'm in my home office and looking out at the same beautiful day that Stu is looking out at. And I'm a longtime member of PISLAP and always find these calls really very inspirational and motivating for me. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Farsh today. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. And Yudong Zhu.
Hi, everyone. This is Yudong. Well, I'm actually going to turn senior this fall, and I study public policy and pre-law at University of Maryland. I also, I basically also started this thing at PISLAP called the Healing Circle, and the Healing Circle aims to create peaceful, conciliatory dialogues amongst refugee students. And eventually we hope to expand that effort toward refugee students and people in America who, I guess, have a lesser understanding of the immigration process. So eventually our goal is to promote healing not only amongst the refugee immigrant population themselves, but also to express that loving, healing energy outward toward the broader community in American society. And great to see everybody here.
Thank you, Yudong. Great to see you as well. Duncan Holloman.
So I'm Duncan Holloman. I am a recovering lawyer, went to law school a number of years ago, but spent most of my more recent professional life as a psychotherapist. Prior to that, I was actually an actor and singer for a number of years. So I'm really interested in the confluence of contemplative practice, relational orientations, and theology and law. I'm connected with the School of Theology at Boston University and their program on religion and conflict transformation. And I host now a contemplative prayer practice group through my church. And I am in North Woodstock, New Hampshire, where it is raining, unfortunately, and has been for the last day and a half.
Thank you, Duncan. Great, wonderful. Elaine Quinn.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. I think I know most people on the call. I am in Longford, Ireland, and nice to see you, Anthony. Nice to hear another Irish voice. You'll know where I am. Not many people know it. Yeah, really looking forward to hearing from Farsh too. We connected probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer. And yeah, really glad to have the opportunity to finally hear her speak more about her own journey. So good to be here.
Thank you, Elaine. And Michelle Leering.
Also very glad to be here. Infrequent attender, but watching PISLAP's work all the time, and had attended a conference in the States a few years back. So I work in a community-based legal clinic, nonprofit here, and I have for my entire legal career, but I'm currently on leave because I'm trying to write my dissertation at Queen's University Faculty of Law, which is looking at legal education reform and valuing reflective practice, or integrated reflective practice, as I've defined it, as a core competency for law students. And principally because I care about access to justice, and I think the profession needs a stronger awareness of what they can be doing holistically and in many ways to improve the practice of law and our ability to reach people and make a difference.
Thank
so
you,
Ontario, Kingston, Ontario.
Thank you. Sounds like good work. Very interesting. Kim Vanderheiden.
I'm in Castro Valley, California, which is across the bay from San Francisco. And I'm an artist. I'm in my art studio at home right now. I make artwork about shifting awareness of what justice means, and that it is love-based. And I became involved with PISLAP through the influence that Peter's writing has had on my artwork. And actually, Yudong, right now, I am just about complete on a piece of artwork that combines justice, love, and sheltering refugees. And it's about an indigenous Mayan woman who learned weaving at the age of 10 and is right now here in our country. And so maybe I could share it with you. So.
Absolutely, please.
Oh, and also I've been really interested. I've been listening to Farsh introduce herself in past gatherings, and I'm really curious to hear more.
Great, thank you, Kim. Kim and Yudong, you'll likely do a future call together, I think, from what I've heard. Lee.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Stallings, and I'm in upstate New York. It's gray and rainy here today. I'm a mediator. I work as a mediator, but I'm also excited about entering seminary in September to expand my skills in peaceful dispute resolution. So happy to be here.
Wonderful. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Bonnie Silvestri. You're muted, dear. You're muted.
Sorry. I'm Bonnie Silvestri. I work in ethics compliance and I do ADA and Title VI for the county of Sarasota, and I'm located in Sarasota, Florida. And I also created a documentary that I told everybody about, I think on the last call, and it's going to be in the Social and Economic Justice Film Festival coming up in September. So just wanted to let people know about that, and I'm excited to hear from Farsh. Thank you.
Bonnie, should we know the name of your documentary, or can you put it in the chat line?
Yes, it's called Funnel of Dreams, and I will put it in the chat as well.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you.
Is
Great.
there a link? Is there a link, Bonnie? Could you share the link if it's viewable online, or?
Well, it will be viewable in the film festival.
Oh, okay.
So I can post that
Sure.
when I get it. Okay,
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, Nanette, back to you, and I don't think you introduced yourself. Or did you?
Yeah, thank you, Peter, for leading that. Hi, everyone. I'm Nanette Shore. I'm based in New York City. It's also sort of a gray day here. I work in my full-time job in the South Bronx, so in a very poor neighborhood of New York City, at an organization that provides free legal services and aspires to social and economic justice for our clients. I've just been on a bunch of calls around our work trying to foster the creation of healing-centered public schools for children as students return after COVID in the fall and are dealing with all the impact of the trauma they've experienced at home and in the community and in their lives. We're trying to really foster a more healing environment for them. So it's work I really appreciate a lot. So great to be here. And wonderful to hear from everyone. So I think everybody read the introduction to Farsh that Elaine put forward on our on the invitation. So right now, I think I'm just going to turn it over to Farsh with thanks and appreciation for leading the conversation. Farsh is going to speak for a while, and then there'll be some time for dialogue with her. So over to you, Farsh.
Thank you very much, Nanette. Thanks all for inviting me to this community call. I'm Farsh Nardon. I live in Stuttgart in South Germany. I was born here, just in a smaller town nearby Stuttgart, and always lived here. I've always lived here. I know Elaine from London. I've been to London for some time. I think it's actually already 7 years ago. I went to London for a while to work at the Imperial College of London for a innovation project. And today, as you probably read in the invitation, the topic where I want to talk on practicing law as a spiritual teacher. I will first say a few sentences about what I've done so far as a lawyer. I studied law at Tübingen University in South Germany, and then worked as a family lawyer for a few years in a private law firm. And I liked this job pretty much, but I came to see that although I won many cases, and I did like small cases also, neighbors disputes, and I just more and more saw that although I won quite some cases, that my clients were not always content after this process they were going through, the legal process. So I at the time I was already meditating and very interested in spirituality. And I, for myself, found out, for example, if I hold a grudge, if I have a resentment, it's most helpful to wish this other person everything I wish for myself to get peace within myself. But I, saw that probably as a lawyer in that law firm, I couldn't tell my clients. So I tried to kind of combine the two things and plan to do mediation. But then, and most of all in family law, it's very popular here to do mediation processes. And usually the lawyers and the judges, they come together and they try to find solutions that are best for the child. But then I got a job I moved on through the public sector. I got a job which is called the Ministry of Science, Research and Arts. It's it's an administrative place, like kind of the science administration. We do university law, and it's one of the so-called lender administrations, which is probably like in the United States, the States, different system, but it's a local government. So I've been there for about 15 years now. And, my work as a spiritual lawyer became more and more during these years. And in the beginning, I always tried to combine these two. I thought of kind of, having meditations for my colleagues, or just doing something to combine these two, because these two worlds seemed very, very differently. And I always tried to bring together these two. And I was also, at the beginning, I was pretty shy, to come out as a spiritual teacher. But I more and more saw, and then I had a time where I thought, I only do this legal job to earn the money, to have like a basic income. And maybe later on, if I earn enough as a spiritual teacher, I want to leave this job. But that really made me not very happy, because I kind of took my energy out of this legal work job. I just, I was not doing it wholeheartedly. And then I kind of made a decision, I thought, if I, teach my clients as a spiritual teacher to be authentic everywhere, to not play roles, to just be themselves wherever they are. I have to be authentic wherever I am as a lawyer too. So, and that was the time when my joy for being a lawyer and working for this local government, and the decision to just, really take the lead there and bring myself, my energy, everything into this job too, where it turned around. And at the moment today, I do both jobs. I love both jobs, but still I'm not offering like meditations at the ministry or something. But what happened was that I've never had an awkward situation at my job. And the others, the other government officials, they all know what I'm doing. So today I have like at least 3 or 4 clients, government officials I have as clients, I accompany. What I do as a spiritual teacher mostly is I consult people spiritually one-to-one. I give seminars, I write to inspire people, and I developed a method that I would call Dharma coaching. When you take the Eastern philosophy, and when you say like karmic structures, when we hear of karma, we usually think of bad karma, but karma is actually just the result of everything, all experience you've ever had as a soul or as a human being. So, I try to help people to overcome karmic structures and just become free, to follow their own kind of what I call Dharma flow, to not have like to not act upon belief or thought patterns, and also to not act upon kind of patterns, feelings you might have because of something that happened in the past. So what I think is very interesting for me, working in the science field and being in contact or working for universities, making the laws for the universities, is that there is actually a science based upon a very spiritual attitude, and for me that is the quantum physics. And so far, and probably still, at least here in Europe and Germany, people think of two different worlds. They think of the scientific world, they think of the physical world. Mostly medicine is based on, this physical experiences. And then there's this other world, whatever you want to call it, spiritual world, but it's left to like the priests and religion or different spiritual approaches. But the quantum physics actually know today that they say that there's only singularity in this universe, which means that there's only like one energy. And where this energy is more concentrated, it gets physical. So that's a whole different approach. And I don't know if you've heard about a very touching letter from Einstein, Albert Einstein, to his daughter, where he wrote that if we humans are ready to hear that, she should publish this letter. And it's about saying that this energy underneath is actually love. It's not like something spooky, something not tangible for us human beings. It is love. So yeah, I've said this. So when I look at the situation here in Germany at the moment, and probably it's the same around the world, I guess, there's a lot of controversy at the moment. People are like discussing nearly everything possible you can discuss, and there's so many different opinions. And, when I look at it as a spiritual teacher, I think that there is more unity than we ever had before. But because, we're as humans around the globe, we're going through a big shift right now, which I call, or I would say it is actually a shift in consciousness. Because we are going through this right now, all the old structures, the old belief patterns, the old feelings, all the old stuff, it just comes out. And probably we ourselves experience this too, that there may be fear or resentments or whatever, fear of what's going on. It just comes out because there's actually, for me, there's more, which I call, light, unity, love. There's actually more of this in this world right now, but it seems like there is more polarization, and there is obviously, we can see that. So I think it's more important than ever that we, are what we talk about. And when there is somebody, for example, in a room who's a very peaceful person, that has a big impact on, for example, a legal case or, a conversation. And I think for myself that love does the same. However, there is still some misunderstanding, when you go out, I don't go out to my colleagues and at the ministry and say, well, we should put more love into this, because there's still misunderstanding about what love is. So far, I think we've experienced law most of all emotionally. It was connected to emotions. I fall in love with a person. I love to do this hobby or whatever, but it can go away too. As humans, we're sometimes afraid of losing a partner, losing this love or whatever. So I think that at the moment there's a process of experiencing an original love that just flows from us as an energy that doesn't like or dislike. It doesn't like or dislike others, or it's not about what I like or dislike as a human being. It's beyond that. It's just a love that connects us all, beyond our belief systems, beyond our jobs, economic situation, whatever. So, I was thinking about talking a little about some words like truth or justice from a spiritual perspective, but I think I don't want to talk too long because I love also, hear you sharing and discussion, but I think there is actually only one truth, and this sounds much too simple to lead like a discussion about it, but I think actually there is only one truth, and this one truth is that we human beings are all love, and that we are endlessly loved, and that love connects us all, and everything else is just a human complication. So when I look at the legislation here in Germany, it's very complicated. It's gotten so very complicated, and sometimes, I make the university laws with my colleagues, and I have a hard time to understand sometimes, what we've done like 5 years ago, because it's so complicated. Everything's so complicated. So of course, there's an approach to simplify things everywhere in legislation too, to make it more simple. But I think we can see this not only in legal systems. I think we can see this everywhere, that it's gotten very complicated. So maybe this is one inspiration for a discussion. And so I've talked nearly 20 minutes. So I suggest, unless you have a question to this, I would love to take you, to make it more tangible, not only with words, but also with a short meditation, and take you into, what I've talked about. Yeah, shall I just continue?
Yeah, please go ahead, Farsh, and I think the meditation would be wonderful, and then we can open it up to dialogue.
Okay, good. So if you want to, you can close your eyes. Leave your eyes open as you like it. I love sometimes to do the meditation mudra, and to put my thumbs and index fingers together. This like stimulates this flow within us. And I first would like to invite you to just take a few deep breaths. And when you breathe out, you just, let go of all of your thoughts, everything that was said so far in this meeting. Maybe let go of everything you've said or heard during your day to day. And the deeper you breathe, the more you can just feel, sitting on your chair or wherever you sit on, couch. Just arrive here now. And then follow your breath through your body, down to your pelvic floor. Take a few more deep breaths. Feel this energy flow flowing through you with your breath, with your breathing. And at your pelvic floor, there's energy flowing from you, which gives you a deep trust in yourself and in your life. It's flowing from this energy center at your pelvic floor and just spreads through, flows through your physical body and into your subtle bodies. It also tells you that you are right where you're supposed to be in your life. And this stimulates your courage. It's energy flowing from you at the center of your lower abdomen. You know, the courage to express yourself just as you are. To be yourself, to be authentic. And to not live up to others' expectations. To invent yourself newly every day and to discover yourself, who you are. And this stimulates energy that flows from your solar plexus, and it spreads through you in all directions. An energy like a sun flowing into your physical body. Maybe it relaxes your shoulders. And it flows also into your subtle bodies, and it gives you peace. Everything is okay, just like it is, with all the situations you might have in your life, with all the thoughts and feelings. They're all divine. And this stimulates energy within the center of your heart, at the center of your chest, energy flowing from the source within you. It's love in its original form, expanding into your physical body and into your subtle bodies. Whispering to you all the time, you're endlessly loved. You are love. And you don't have to achieve anything to be loved. And maybe you can feel that this love can expand into this virtual room too. That we can touch each other with this original love and get more connected energetically. Appreciating the uniqueness that we embody, and the beauty that we embody. And this stimulates the energy that gives you space, energy flowing from your throat or your neck, from this area, giving you space. Space to communicate your truth. Being true to yourself. And this also stimulates energy at your forehead, flowing from the center of your forehead. Energy spreading into your physical body and also into your subtle bodies. And with this energy, you can recognize yourself. You can recognize who you are beyond what people told you who you are, beyond your achievements in this world. It is the I am unique, I am love, I am who I am, and I'm beautiful as I am. And this helps you open up.
Recording in progress.
At the tip of your head, and you can feel a flow that comes into you from above, flow of energy. You can just open up like an empty vessel, open up to this energy of beauty and uniqueness. This energy coming from your soul world. Filling you with joy and peace. Making you whole. So you have a reason to enjoy yourself all the time, no matter what. And with this, you deepen your breath again, your breathing. You take a few deep breaths and you follow your breathing back to the surface of your day consciousness. And you open your eyes.
Thank you, Farsh. So Farsh, shall we open it up now for dialogue? And folks, so folks, please share out of that spirit that Farsh helped evoke in us, and the courage that she's, courage to love that you're really trying to impart and share. Just the floor is open for anyone who'd like to speak, or also use the chat if you prefer.
Thank you for that beautiful meditation. It was an expression of the shift that is taking place and the movement from duality to oneness. And the love you speak of is the kind of love for me that is like the background all the time for me. It's holding that love space that's like agape, perhaps, a feeling that everything is love. And our consciousness, our one mind consciousness, like you say, is love. And we get mixed up in our duality with love and fear. But our consciousness is beyond love and fear. And that was lovely. Thank you very much. I love you.
You want to call on people then?
Yeah, I don't see anybody with their hand raised. Oh, Peter, yeah.
I share your feeling that this awareness is, this shift of consciousness is occurring in the world as an evolutionary movement in thought and awareness, but it's invisible. And so when I say it's invisible, there are manifestations of it, but the actual quality of wholehearted presence to one another, recognition of each other as loving beings, longing for one another's mutuality of manifesting that. That's something that we have to carry as something that we feel confident is occurring in an environment in which, as you described it, you said human complication, I think is the phrase that you used, but an environment that is chaotic and cacophonous. You know, in the United States, we're overwhelmed with the level of irrationality, hyper excitement about things that are quite crazy, tremendous amount of anger and conflict and projection and demonization of the other and so forth. So the question is, how do we make use of this awareness? In other words, how do we advance the shift that you're speaking of? And as we enter a room here, you must do this when you go to the ministry, when you're not in your spiritual teacher side, but you're going to the ministry, and then in comes something involving many different interests, or what people think are their respective interests, that all have to be hammered out and fought out in some, I don't know, legal case or policy project, whatever it is that exactly you're working on. So perhaps you could give a feeling of how you try to bring to that the force of your own confidence, spiritual confidence, in the good-heartedness and common capacity for it, and actually carrying the love that binds us together as humans. How do you do that? There you are in the room.
Well, thank you, Peter. Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And I'm still finding out. I'm still improving. I'm still, in the process of, in the making of. But this was I was a little bit talking about, the decision to put myself into this work, into this legal work, and not kind of leave it and take it as a, just earn some money and then do the things I love. And what I experience most of all, because I work for politicians, I work in the political field, is that, well, first of all, it's always about the person on top. It's always about the politician. It's about the human being. It's not about the political color. It's about the one who is doing the job. But what I experienced is seeing one party, one person becoming a minister, one certain party, after a different party was on top for 60 years, that the people who won, that they changed, that somehow the political system itself changes the people working for the political system. And I think you mentioned something, Peter, very important, and that is like what also Stuart talked about this duality, that the political system is much about different parties fighting, each other and trying to have a good press, trying to have good publicity, but it's not about sitting together, finding the best for us people who elected actually these political parties. So back to your question, what do I do myself? Well, first of all, I just try to not hold myself back. I just try to, which is not easy sometimes, because the energies in such an institution are very different from my own, personal spiritual practice where I work. So I try to bring the peace and the love into my work. And of course, I don't talk about it, obviously, but whenever I, write a paper or whenever I'm in a meeting, I really try to hold the space of love, because I see that most of all in political discussions, people have like a shield somehow, they think they are stronger when they like leave love out, because of this principle of, people think that it's connected to weakness, it's connected to emotions, and emotions make you weak. But the original love is, in my, in my understanding, it's more powerful than anything in this world. Mm-hmm. But of course, the shift of consciousness is just beginning, and we're just beginning to experience what this really means. Maybe this is a little bit of an answer to your question, Peter. Mm-hmm. And I also, I'm true. I mean, I say the truth. I don't hold back things, and I say it very nicely. People never so far. So far, people never were like, oh my God, what is she saying here? We are here in the political discussion. I don't hold back the truth. Sometimes, it's good to mix it with a little bit humor. People mm-hmm. can take it better, or just with love. And people feel it, people feel it when you love them. People
There's a love projection. We project love.
So I too appreciate, Farsh, the mood and the spirit that you create, and that I certainly allowed myself to enter into that world of feeling my own love and my own personal presence. My two favorite words are "and yet," and it does feel like there's an "and yet" here. There are lots of them. The "and yet" that comes up for me is dealing with sociopathic people. That there's lots of data out there that says that the capitalist system, the political systems that we have, reward sociopathic and narcissistic people, and they do very bad things. So there's such a challenge, and maybe this is part of what Peter was getting at as well, that there's a challenge for how we maintain that sense of our own loving nature, dealing with people that are evil, dealing with people that are really doing harm to the earth. That I think there's a danger of a certain kind of complacency that says, well, everything is perfect and it's okay and we're all right the way we are, because in lots of ways we're not. And I'm just curious about that, like how you handle the need for activism, the need for opposing bad things that happen out there in the world.
For me, it seems like we try to address things at the higher level, and instead of working from the bottom up. And we have always dealt with a hierarchy. At the bottom, we have to work at the top. We really have to go to the horizontal and stay as centered as possible in our individual loves. It's an individual job. It's a one-to-one job. And I'm a lawyer. I know how easy it is to get into thinking about what about this, what about that. But we tend to get away in our duality from the love side. And the love side is much harder to hold And the love, when we're in duality, love and fear, all we have to do, Duncan, is listen to the news. Boom, we're into fear. We're into love. So it's hard to hold it in duality. And the shift is moving into higher, where consciousness is only what we're working with and not the subconscious of our mind. Anyway, that's my own blah.
Farsh, did you want to also add anything to what Stu said, or before we move on to Bruce?
I think Stuart had, like described it very nicely, the picture. Of course, society has to deal with, people who turned away from love. And we have to, I think that the systems over the next years and decades will change. I think there will be a change, and sometimes it has to get worse in order to get better, for the longing, to help us grow the longing within ourselves to come back to the simple truth that is love. What came to my mind, Duncan, was this, you all probably not know about this Ho'oponopono, or however you pronounce it, thing, this psychiatric doctor who worked in a prison, actually, and he had these, he dealt with these sociopathic people, and he healed them all. I mean, this happened in reality. He healed them all, but he never talked to them. He never treated them. He never faced them. He was only thinking, how can this be? How can this occur in the world, in others? What is it in me that encourages or helps something like this in other people on the outside, world? And so this is again telling about the power of love. But yeah, of course, in the meantime, we have to deal, and it's not like, I think one last thing is something that Peter said, which I think is so important, to not demonize anyone, to not project the bad into systems or people, but to really try to stay in this unity of love and know that what we have in this world, whether it's systems, political, legal systems, economic systems, we all created them all together, and we are all able to change them step by step.
Farsh. Bruce, did you want to read?
Well, the discussion's kind of moved on. I was actually having the exact same question Peter asked, which was, what do we do? And I found Farsh's presence to be so strong in evoking the capacity we have for expressing love, that I have no doubt that in a meeting or a discussion, that her presence would affect the outcome. And I think that is a tribute to the fact that there's a lot more room for expressing love, either implicitly or explicitly, than we may think. Peter, I once saw Michael Lerner. We had a meeting, our friend who's the editor of Tikkun magazine, a meeting up at the Minnesota State Capitol with a bunch of legislators, and he sat right down with them and said, we want more love in this room. But Farsh, I think what the example you create requires us all to really develop and strengthen and exercise our capacity for, we're so complicated as people, we can go different ways in different times, in different settings. We have to strengthen our capacity for feeling and expressing love. And I was just wondering what your personal love exercise regimen is. Do you have a meditation practice? Do you do things that strengthen this obvious core of the love consciousness that you have?
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I think first of all, when I accompany people as a spiritual teacher, I try to help them to, there is no certain pattern or no theory or no like schedule or, I give to people, because I think we're so very differently and we all kind of walk our very own unique path because we are so unique beings, that I help people to find their own unique kind of practice. But of course, there is some things I do for myself and I recommend to others. And first of all, which is free, is meditation. I meditate each morning. I try to meditate at least twice a day for 15 minutes, and I practice the meditation of the heart. There is an initiation to this meditation, which helps your energetic system to kind of invite your thoughts into love, that you're not distracted with these thoughts. Before I got this initiation into the meditation of the heart, which I give myself today, I think I practiced meditation for 15 years already, and I had a hard time to leave my thought world. I had a very hard time, because we are all so trained in our culture to define ourselves with our thoughts. We all have professions, we all studied, and we are just here. We are up here mostly. But maybe you could feel a little bit, or maybe you practice your self-meditation or you do stuff that you can feel it. We are so much more, and that these are not theories, these are actual energies, very, very powerful energies flowing from us, from our energetic system.
Yeah.
Kind of, you could call them divine gates, but it's not related to religion. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
So I do the meditation of the heart because I think that love underlies everything, and that it helps us enhance and cultivate peace, within our solar plexus, or the trust we have, or all the other kind of qualities, main qualities we have. So I go just into the stillness and I repeat either God is love or I am love. When you don't want to say God, you could say I am love. God is love, I am love. And I repeat this mantra, and I try to repeat it through my heart, the center, my heart chakra, through the center, so that it's not staying up here. And with the meditation mudra, it creates a flow that helps me to remind myself constantly and to become more and more love, and to kind of grow through my emotional body again and again, grow through my thought and beliefs patterns, and see that there's so much more about myself. And this meditation practice is the first thing that helps me. But also, I accompany people, but I ask others to accompany me too. I have colleagues. I ask when I have a problem, when I feel something I can't handle myself, I call somebody. And so I'm spiritually kind of guided, too. Yeah.
It's like developing your spiritual muscle.
That's
Right,
beautiful,
right.
Farsh. Thank you.
That's my workout, my spiritual workout practice.
Do other folks have, I know we're reaching close to the end of our time, but just wondering if anyone else has something they'd like to share or ask. I'll just raise one question that came to my mind, Farsh. I guess when I have tried to bring that part of myself to my workplace, which is a social justice oriented workplace, there is a sort of a bit of a cynicism, or a kind of a against the, about the more spiritual approach and its capacity to achieve results, to protect people, to to safeguard rights. And I'm just wondering if you've experienced that kind of reaction. I know you work in a different kind of workplace than I do, but it's still a legal workplace, and what you're thinking about that is, how to deal with that.
Yeah, well, yes, Nanette, I actually was quite afraid, like I mentioned at the beginning, you know, to come out with this, because as a civil servant, I had to go to my boss's boss and ask for, you know, ask for allowance to do this work. So with the people I work with and who know me, you know, I've never had like a bad experience. But of course, I mean, everywhere there are people who maybe, you know, who are not, where there is this skepticism, or, you know, who think that this is some, you know, sitting in a circle and, you know, smoking or whatever they think we do. You know, it's not about really becoming who we are, becoming, you know, the unique, strong beings that we are, the true beings that we are. It's more about, I think, a picture they have, a resentment they have in their head. But right at my work, no, I've never had this experience so far. I had colleagues coming into my office. I saw your website, you know, and they asked me, what does Farsh mean? Because this is my spiritual name, you know, they know me as Isabel, basically. So, so they come into the office, where did you get this name from? And it's like, and when I talk to them, it's weird because it's such a different world, but, you know, it's again about the energy. And when I talk to colleagues, and when it's not my fear consuming myself, of course, I'm afraid sometimes too, and I have to deal with it. But when I remember, okay, I'm love, and when I touch them, and when I just say, you know, not loud, but, you know, silently, I say, I love you. I love you. And I know that's weird to you. I know you're afraid of this, you know, but when you touch a person with love, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Farsh. All right, friends. Oh, Amber, go ahead.
Hello, Farsh, thank you so much for sharing. And also I'm very grateful to the others, because I just wanted to share that I'm finding similar, very similar, even if I'm on the other side of the world, what's the word? Similar environments, basically, and similar challenges in those environments at work. So I also work as a consultant for the Chief Minister's office here in Gibraltar. And what I found is the same, that I am coming up with narcissists, coming up against narcissists. And of course, one of the things that I'm learning about narcissism and psychopaths and so on is their lack of accountability. So of course, when I've been invited to draft policies, for example, and try to integrate in those policies a holistic approach, a more spiritual and loving approach, a more conciliatory approach, what I'm finding is that, of course, there's going to be resistance to that, because of in order for you to be able to start healing, or for any environment to start healing, what you need, I suppose, is a recognition that there is pain, for example, or that there is something happening within that environment that is causing harm. So if you want to introduce healing in those environments, for them, it's almost like, well, you know, we don't want to acknowledge that that's actually going on. So just to give an example, for example, a few years ago, I wanted to introduce policies and protocols which were going to help teachers deal with bullying in schools, which is on the rise. Yet, unfortunately, you know, the response was, well, if we do take you on board and do this work, what we're doing is telling the general public there's a problem. We're acknowledging that there's an issue. And so I'm very interested in what Duncan had to share, because it's true. It's like, how do we deal with this when you'll find that a lot of the decision makers who have the budget as well available to, you know, to access to be able to create these kind of programs are going to shut you down before you've even started. So I was just going to ask Farsh, I don't know, whether you're sort of encountering the same or how you might get around that other than through meditation and so on. Is there another way in your negotiation or in your conversation that you can bring about change, even if it means that the narcissist won't want to take responsibility and certainly not accountability? I don't know if that makes any sense, sorry.
I think that makes total sense. Maybe there is somebody else who can give some advice. I haven't dealt with so many of these people, fortunately, but as a spiritual teacher, I think it's whenever, there is like something in you that still responds with fear or something, that you can, of course, in your meditation, but also going into the situation energetically beforehand, before you go into the meeting, you can, like you prepare a meeting, you write down things and you make a plan. You also can make an energetic plan.
Yeah.
The energetic world, you can also prepare this meeting when you meet this person. But then, at a certain point, you just, there are mudras, I work as a spiritual teacher with mudras also, and you can protect yourself with practicing mudras before you go into a meeting. They're very practical things I give my clients at hand to deal in their actually daily life with situations, because it's all about energies, right? So
one thing I just found really fascinating is that I'm a holistic lawyer, as I say, because one of my main goals is always to look at how we can help people heal, how we can transform people's lives in a positive way and so on. But one of the things I was very fascinated by is that, at least I haven't come across anything that confirms that narcissism is something somebody can recover from. So I don't know if I'm wrong, and if anybody finds something, please send me the resource at amber@amberlaw.gi. But I haven't found it, and I found that really difficult in my, to actually accept in my mind, because I thought, oh my goodness, and that, that's like telling me don't have faith in the power of love and the power of healing. But most of the experts out there are saying no, there's there's no cure, and of course, as Duncan said, the paradigms that we're now working in are actually rewarding and putting these kind of characters in those positions of power and influence. So I'm almost feeling like somebody said before, I think you said before, sorry, Farsh, that things might have to get worse before we hit rock bottom and maybe things get better. And I almost feel sometimes like, even if I'm giving my, drop of water in the ocean, that it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like it's just not going to make a difference, because there is a higher consciousness or like a different agenda going on, like a spiritual battle going on, that at the moment it doesn't matter what we do, we still have to head in that direction to hit rock bottom before we can see that change in, as Stu said, in terms of consciousness and to remove the duality. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Yeah, I think the good news is that I think it's not so different than it's been the last thousands of years. I think that these characters were in these positions all the time, but we haven't noticed so much. And I think it comes out more. We see it more because as consciousness rises, there's kind of more light shining on all of this that we've looked at in the past, but we didn't see it. So I think it's not getting so much worse. That's the good news. I think it's kind of just, we are seeing it more. It becomes more obvious because we are becoming more love and consciousness rises. So I think there will be a kind of, how do you call it? Tipping
point, maybe?
Tipping point, yeah. Yeah, but it seems
we have here one of the world's most successful experts in dealing with difficult people. Stu, what do you do with sociopaths and narcissistic people in four-way collaborative law settings?
Yes, the point is, In collaborative law, we create a context where we don't have all that cynicism because the conflicted couple has agreed to come to the table. And so we have a different environment. The other point I'd like to make is that I think of Rudyard Kipling's first poem, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. You can't fix anybody else, but you can start building up the muscle of your love to hold that love silently, not trying to fix them, but just being there with your love. And if you lose your love, then you're losing your love itself, which is a tragedy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Nanette, were you gonna just wind up there?
I was just going to, but that
Well, I
was a
just wanted to
beautiful
say
note.
one
Yeah.
thing. One thing, and that is, so also when you're, Amber, when you're confronting the situation with a narcissistic person and so forth, the difficulty of it, there are millions of us out here. You can tell from this call how many, this is just the people on this call, but they're not millions. Let's say there are tens of thousands of us all trying to make this quality of transformative presence occur and manifest itself in the world. So you might be alone in that one room, but if you can remember that we're all out.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
So Farsh, thank you for all that you brought to this call and opened up for us in this dialogue. It was really wonderful and much appreciated. It was great. Thank you. And thanks to everyone for joining and sharing. Just to let you know what our next call is, our next call is going to be on August 24th. And it will be sort of an introduction or a teaser, if you will, for our more extended sort of mini conference that we're doing, virtual mini conference that we're doing at the end of September, beginning of October, called the PISLAP Intensives. It runs from, I believe, September 29th through August 29th through September.
No, September 29th through October.
Thank you, Peter. Yes. So we wanted to just introduce it to you. We'll have, I don't have all that, but we'll have one segment on spirituality in the law. We'll have one segment on mediation. We'll have a segment on building a spiritually oriented private criminal defense practice. And Peter, are you remembering the fourth?
Yes, restorative justice, and also environmental activism and the transformation of our relationship to nature.
Mm-hmm. And that will be a European-based paddle, that particular one. So please join us on the 24th, and also consider coming to the PISLAP Intensives. It'll be wonderful to see everyone. So much thanks again to Farsh and to everyone for coming. And
thank you, Farsh.
Thank you.
Bye.